Stephen, very good morning to you.
Very good morning, Mike.
Well, I mean, here we are again. The biggest number of illegal migrants have just come across the channel yesterday, 500 of them. It's apparently going to be quite nice this week, so we can probably expect another couple of thousand by this time next weekend, I suppose. Meanwhile, we've got, everybody's been sort of diverted by this Keir Starmer manoeuvre about Ukraine. But he talks about defending the country, but our own borders aren't protected. How's he going to protect theirs?
Well, it's always a kind of conundrum for most people who look at our own nation. When you see a leader like Keir Starmer saying that I will defend the borders of Ukraine by spending British taxpayers' money, maybe using the lives of British people to go and defend them in a potential war against Russia, when he won't even defend the borders of our own channel, when we have the powers to be able to do that, Mike. As we know, we've discussed it many, many times. He could use the Navy and the laws of the sea to return all those channel migrants to the French coast, but he won't. So it is a conundrum. It is one that leaves us always very surprised about why leaders say this, but I do not believe for 1 minute a lot of what Keir Starmer says when it comes to migration, or potentially on this case about Ukraine either.
I don't believe a lot of what he says about anything, really, to be honest. I mean, almost everything that he said he would do, he hasn't done, and almost everything he said that he wouldn't do, he has done. And there was no mention, I mean, even a month ago, there was no mention of doing any kind of peace deal in Ukraine. It's suddenly been cooked up ever since J.D. Vance went to Munich and Starmer went to the United States.
Absolutely. I think what we're facing here is an existential threat to the liberal elite order of Europe. The Macrons, the Keir Starmers, the Blairs, all those types of people that love the idea of the United Nations running everything, the ECHR controlling everything, the European Union being in power to be able to manipulate everything from our laws to the ability to take money from our people. And now they're seeing two individuals, in particular in J.D. Vance and Trump, but not also his team. The whole of his team are devoted to the idea of making America great again by defending American interests. And if that means upsetting the liberal elite, they don't care.
No.
So that's what we've got.
Exactly right. Meanwhile, back at home, I mean, foreign criminals, we are told, who are now in jails in this country are going to be booted out faster by a new immigration squad. So £5 million blitz, which these days doesn't sound like very much money. Apparently they're going to say the Home Office is going to turf out people up to 18 months before their sentences end. Some of them are going to be sent to serve time back home. In my previous experience of these kind of deals, it usually involves paying people to go home, or it usually involves paying, as they did in Albania, foreign governments vast amounts of money to take them back.
Well, I think that's the case, Mike. We've got to look at this amount of money. 5 million is about less than 1 day's money that we're going to give to Zelensky.
Yeah, right.
We're defending their borders with 5 million, but can't defend our own.
Well, it wouldn't pay for all of the migrants in hotels either, would it?
No, not at all. And here is the case: is really the reality is the prison population is about 12 to 13,000 people made up of foreign nationals who've committed crimes. We get rid roughly around 5,000 every year, but again, the same numbers seem to fill up our prisons every year. So even if we do decide to get this crack team, as they're calling it, to get them out, it'll be filled up because we're getting 40 to 50,000 people coming across on the boats. Our own security services and leading police officers admit that vast amounts of crime in this country are committed by foreign nationals, particularly Albanians at the moment. Yeah. So the more that we ship them out, the more that are coming back across to fill up the prisons.
Well, I mean, it gets better than that, because there's a story in one of the papers today about an Albanian crime boss who smuggled hundreds of migrants into Britain, sent back to Belgium to do a 10-year prison stint there. He's already sneaked back over here on another boat. So he's back in Britain.
Okay, well, Mike, I rarely get surprised by most stories, and that's one I actually hadn't heard of. I mean, I do find it rather amusing. He's managed to escape the Belgian prisons, been able to use his own contacts to get back into the UK. And why does he do that? Because he knows it's very difficult to get rid of him.
Exactly right. And also, we had the story last week. I mean, I don't know what's going on with the Belgian penal system, but some Albanians were apparently saying that they couldn't be sent to Belgium to spend time in their jails because the jail cells are too small.
I thought for a minute going to say it's the wrong type of frites or chips.
Yes. No. I can beat that today as well. Have you heard of it? I mean, it starts to sound like a sort of a stand-up comedy routine. Have you heard the one about the psychotic Nigerian? Right. This is a guy who apparently is an armed robber and a crack cocaine dealer. He's basically the subject of a deportation order that was made more than 10 years ago in April 2014. But he can't be sent home because he's possessed. I mean, he's managed to convince the Home Office and whichever human rights lawyer is representing him that he is in fact possessed by the devil, and therefore he can't be sent home because they don't treat people like that very well.
No, is anybody there? Is anybody there? There's no one there in the Home Office, is there, trying to get rid of them?
I know. Why don't you give him a Ouija board and send him on the next plane to Nigeria, you know?
They'd probably turn it around in midair and say, the devil has brought me back again.
It is, but it's pathetic, isn't it? I mean, there's literally a story a day like this now.
And we're a laughing stock. I mean, what must it feel like to be in the Home Office when and the judicial system when you see this type of case? Because you know that this is going to bring ridicule upon you, your institution, and the people that you're working for. When you just can't get rid of individuals who are plainly within clear sight of you, deep criminals who should be gone. And so I'm sorry for a lot of people who work there, because I know they're decent individuals, many of them.
Yeah, but I mean, the system in and of itself is just absolutely and utterly hopeless. I mean, we had a call this morning from a guy who's down in Folkestone, so he actually was able to witness last night, you know, for first hand. You know, there was the search and rescue helicopter, the RNLI were out, the Border Force boats were all out, you know, helping these people, hundreds of them, to come on shore to a country which they're literally arriving on illegally. You know, we shouldn't be helping them. I'm sorry.
Well, I feel exactly the same way in the fact that so many people in this country have asked for years. Look, it's poll after poll of people saying we've had enough. We are full. We can't really afford to bring these people in. Why are they coming here? We know why they come here, because they make money out of it either in the illegal markets. They know that they've got comfortable homes, accommodation, income, and they're treated really well. And there's very little reason for them to go home because they're not going to be deported, whether they're in prison or whether they're illegally caught. And that is the reality for life of both people living here and for those who are making money out of this insidious business. Yeah.